Right, guys, welcome back to the Natural Physique podcast. We've got a little bit of a different setup here. I don't even know if I'm on the right thing or I'm looking at the right thing, but hopefully you guys can see this nice and clear. We're on Riverside, so a level up. I remember Finn, you were all talking about the level up of the Once You're In podcast, and you got a new studio, and then you used it for like 3 episodes, and then you didn't use it anymore. So hopefully we'll stay on Riverside and we can continue to level up and then not just stop doing the podcast entirely. That would be good.
It's hard work when you open a gym, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Gym,
sorry.
move house. It's busy life. It's easy when you live at home when your mum does everything for you.
That's a good point. I'll take it. I'll take it. Right, how are we all? We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about some more competing stuff as well and be a bit educational. But as always, a wee catch up. How we doing? I'm gonna go with Matt because he's not on a treadmill. He's the only one that's not. So I'm going with him first.
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It's been
Yeah.
busy in this house though since the week started. Actually, from last week because we're getting like loads of work done, but then we've had to get like doors replaced because they weren't like fire regulation. So there's been people coming every single day, and it's been like a bit of a nightmare trying to work. Especially with, like taking calls, and then suddenly there's just like a load of hammering and a saw coming through. You're like,
Has there been
going on
any
here?
random guys walk into your room when you're sat in a pair of trunks hitting poses?
no, I've been fully clothed every time they've come in, which is good. Usually they knock and then
Yeah,
put them back, put the trousers back on. But yeah, that's been a little bit frustrating, but I've still been able to get my work done. And then me and Finn were away. Well, Finn wasn't really away because he kind of lives near, but I was away in Derby over the weekend at the NPCWW. I think that stands for worldwide, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, worldwide.
Maybe
seminar.
World War.
yeah.
Worldwide Web.
He's starting a war,
Which was actually really good. Like, it was just a free event, but the people that they actually had speaking and I suppose guest posing was ridiculous, and there wasn't too many people there. But that was really enjoyable seeing like Samson in person. Even though we didn't speak to him, we were going to queue and get a photo, but we didn't in the end. And then Naz and Jack Eagles and Kim Angel, like they all posed. So yeah, that was really good, and I enjoyed it. And then yeah, just been.
They didn't get the picture up on stage.
No, but they did.
A European natty champion, though.
No, the posing university were making me pose though, and then there was like a crowd of like 20 people at one point, and I was like, "This is pretty cool."
Nice.
And then Yemi came over and was like touching me. Yeah, you went for a walk or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Out to hit a front pigeon. Are you looking at here?
Puff the chest out like a pigeon.
Yeah. That is cool though. I've seen some shots.
Did you like it, Matt? Did you enjoy the seminar?
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was good.
Do we know if he's got any plans to do another one, or what the situation is with that, or is he just kind of doing it whenever he wants? Because I feel like I didn't see a lot about it. Like I didn't see much. Like
We
kind
said
of,
that, didn't we? We spoke to Suki and we were saying like I told Suki, I was like, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Matt told me, and then we were saying like it's probably because he posts so much that it was just lost. And we said, didn't we? I asked him like, so how often do you post like peak season around the Olympia and like that kind of thing? He was like the peak, or I think he was saying like the average is 17 times a day.
mental. That's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
That's the thing though, and that's not like, alright, I sit down and I do the videos at these times and I stop doing them at these times. It's like,
He has another job as well. Like he has a full-time job.
fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's mental. Has he competed before? Did he just love football?
Suki used to run NFM. So I met him like years ago when I was sponsored by CMP, and we might have been sponsoring an NFM show. I think we were.
That was a federation, wasn't it? NFL.
Yeah, that's the page.
So that was the federation before, and then basically that's where like Jack Eagles got his pro card within NFM in men's physique and went over to like America and did an NFM show and stuff. And yeah, I met Suki like years ago when I was sponsored by CMP, and then I also did like a weird sample day thing one time in Nottingham, because obviously it's only like 25 minutes from me. And it was like, I think he ran the gym. I don't know if it wasn't his gym because it was a UFC gym in Nottingham, but he was there, and it was like he ran the gym. So like he got CMP down on that day to like sample. I think we were sampling like EAs or something. I can't remember. I'm coming through on someone else's.
I was gonna say it's
It's fine.
Matt, yeah.
But yeah,
Is that
so
it?
Yeah, you're good.
I've known him for a while. He obviously got me on the BTS podcast when it was first getting started. Me and Josh Croggan did it. He's a dead nice guy. He's just fucking busy. Like he's sound, but he's very much like you can tell he's obviously got a lot on his plate. Not in a bad way. He's not like a stressed out. You can just tell he's constantly thinking about the next opportunity to like create content and stuff.
Yeah.
No, the day was good. I enjoyed it. Like I feel like the main attraction was getting to watch like Nas, Pose, and Jack Eagles. Like that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, we got there just after Samson and Pose, so we missed that. But we
Well,
saw.
he wasn't even supposed to pose as well. Like it was just supposed to be like a guest speaker thing.
Yeah.
And then an open demo with your boy Madge.
Yeah, so
And then Samson was like, I'm taking my top off here.
Yeah. Oh, so he didn't pose properly. He just took his top off.
Well, it was like a guest pose sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but like he didn't.
He always does that.
Did he get his legs out as well?
I don't think so. Did you not see the video of it? No.
I didn't analyse it. Anyway, he looked fucking huge, didn't he? Like his arms. When he was walking around in his t-shirt, it's like, what the fuck is that?
It's like
That other guy's,
157 kilos or something.
Yeah. That's
Nuts.
fucking bonkers. The other guy that he was posing next to is like a 212 Pro or something. Like he was good, but then like he literally just made him look like a small child that hadn't trained before. It's like what the fuck.
Sorry if you're watching, mate.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He looks good, but Samson's just like he just dwarfs everyone that he stands next to. It is mental when you get to that side. You don't realise like how different it is.
What did you reckon to my talk, Matt?
Well, I
Mega.
mean, it was a sellout, wasn't it? A complete sellout. Could barely move in the room. It was funny though because Cosmo.
That story got like 150 plus likes. I was going to post it as a post because it did that well, and then I was
Was it
like,
actually that? Was it that funny?
Apparently, it was.
I thought it was just like a good laugh, and then
Yeah, it was funny, but you know what I thought was like it was because you'd clipped it perfectly. So right at the end, you hear me go, "Anybody?" And it like cut me off. It was like anybody, like, and like that made me laugh. The fact how you'd cut it. But yeah, it was funny, but like it was funny for us, wasn't it? And then like,
Yeah.
hey, honestly, yeah, people loved it.
Did you
No.
train as well, or was it just the event you went to?
We trained at TPC in the morning, but like Matt was on leg pull and I was on legs, so we didn't really have anything at the same time together.
Nice. I seen that your man that done the podcast with you was over. I don't know
Cosmo.
his name.
He was giving us
Yeah.
a tour. Oh, it was so funny. Like we had just asked the question, like, "Oh, where are the other seminar rooms?" Because there was like the main stage where like all the guest speakers were, but then there was these individual rooms where like you'd have like Cal Pro Coach taking something, you'd have Jake Watts, like there was all these different little talks, AJ as well. So we're like
Everything was at 3:30.
everything, all the good stuff was just at the same time. We were like, well, what do we do here?
Yeah.
So we just asked Cosmo. We were like, where are the other rooms? And he's like, oh, I'll show you. And then he just takes us on this mad tour of the whole building, and it's like, this is seminar B. And then we walked on.
Excited, wasn't he? It was like, literally like his dream was to give us a tour of this building. He was that excitable. He was like, "Oh my god, I can show you. I'll show you. Follow me. I'll show you." We're like, "All right, mate." And like, then he went the wrong way. I was like, "Mate, this can't be the right way." It was like he went in a really weird way, and I was like, "This isn't right." He was like, "Oh no, this is wrong. Let me show you this." Like, what the
He
fuck?
seems lovely.
Yeah, he's proper sound.
And very passionate.
He was
Passionate
asking
about legends
everybody to
taking-
go on his podcast. He was like going up to every single person, being like, "Podcast."
And then he was saying to us, he's like, "They said yeah, just message me," and they said yeah, just message me. I was like, "Mate, no one in their right mind is gonna go no."
No, mate, fuck off.
It's face to your face, aren't they? No one's gonna go fuck off, mate. Everyone's gonna go
Hide the
"Yeah, mate,
message."
just message me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll message them and they'll ignore him. Like
I'll
Jack
sort
Eagle.
it at some point. Yeah. When then?
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point. Some point.
Yeah, Jack Eagles was said like there was some guy kept coming up and asking about the podcast and said I'd already messaged him and stuff. Or
Why,
it's
you know.
funny.
Mate, that's how it's done, though. That's how it's done. Just gotta
Yeah.
try and do it. Shoot your shot, you know. But Matt, obviously we wrap up for you. Noah, Finn, let's go Noah. Because you're now not in the treadmill. Finn, you're
I'm
just
not, yeah.
in the treadmill.
I've just got my deload started now. So to be fair, we ran a good block. I can't remember how long we'd went without the last like break from training, but I could just tell that I was a bit frazzled by the back end of last week. I was just falling asleep as soon as I sat down anywhere, and you could just feel like my body felt like it had like its own, like it was like fizzing, if that makes sense. Do you ever get that? Like you're tired and your body's got its own little vibration. So I had to listen to myself. I was like, I shouldn't be training just now. I need a little bit of time away. So we're back in on Friday. But aside from that, things are going good.
Did you have like devolume sessions initially planned and then just decided, fuck it, I need to deload? Because that's
Yeah.
what you had devolume sessions, but then it's just like, all right, now I'm actually cooked.
Yeah, training's been in such a good place at the minute that I didn't really want to take time away. So the plan was going to be do some devolume, do some like less output as well, just to hope that I can continue training and then feel recovered enough once that devolume's gone past. But then it came after that pull session, I was just fucked even more, and that was that devolume. So took the rest day, felt no better at all. Kind of gave it judgment call yesterday, and I was like, I still feel like absolute ass. So we decided to take some extra time away. So yeah,
Fair.
that's about it. That's about it.
Easy. Body weight sitting what, 181?
I was 181 on. I was 180 this morning again. So I was up at 82 kg on Sunday just from my body holding on to so much inflammation. Just still eating the same foods as normal, but you could see in the visuals like I was just a lot more watery. My body was stressed out. So hopefully it continues to drop down. I was looking a little bit sharper today, but you could still see that there is still fluid that's being held. So it is what it is.
How many weeks had that been since your previous deload, do you know? Or did you look back and you just...
I think it was around about the time when I had food poisoning, like the back end of October, start of November, I think it was. So it's been a good amount of time, and it's been the most productive that training's been as well. So
I think it had been like 14 weeks.
yeah, which normally I had never had that long of a run out of training. To be fair, normally it's like 10 to 12ish weeks. I start to see signs of things flagging, but things have just been good, and I've not like just fallen at the first sight of fatigue and been like, oh, I feel a bit battered. Like actually being able to take things that little bit further and squeeze as much out of this training block as I could do, and I've made probably the most progress I have done in a training block. So it works.
Goes to show like the accuracy with everything in general does make a difference. Not that you're really entirely off it before, but like just being really intricate with shit and everything and putting an L-carnitine in your delts gives you an extra 2 weeks on your mesocycle.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Mega. Yeah. Finn, yourself, how are you?
Oh, good, mate. Thank you.
How's prep going? Secret
How-
next week's out prep.
I'm not prepping, mate. I'm just dieting. Told you this. I'm just dieting, seeing how I look. Not bad. I had a new low of 84 kilos the day after You dropped a lot, didn't you, Matt? After the
I
seminar.
dropped like 4 pounds, but I think it was just like feet up and Anchorman protocol in the evening. Sorry, I'm done.
Masturbating on my sofa.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Can't help it sometimes.
Thought it was way paced.
So yeah, I dropped a little bit. I didn't drop loads, but it made sense because my last meal, like usually I go to bed at like 9ish, but I had to go and pick Megan up from the airport at like, I think it was like gone 11. So we didn't get back and like home and to sleep back till like 12. And usually I'd be asleep at like 9ish, and my last meal was like, I think I'd delayed my last meal a bit, but it was still like earlier. So I weighed in lighter on Sunday. Plan was to high day Monday anyway, because checking shots on Saturday morning I looked pretty naff, like my back looked really flat and I felt pretty damn flat through my back, and like my back and my legs are like the first area that will flatten off. Like realistically my chest and my delts, my arms, they don't really flatten off, my abs, they don't really flatten off much, but like I can feel it when I'm posing, I can see it easily, like if my back and my legs are quite flat. So I had a high day yesterday, which was nice. Like just same foods but just more. And it was what, like an extra 200 carbs basically.
What does that take you up to then, like 550 or something?
525, yeah. But it felt like a good amount of food, and it did feel like a good amount of food. And body weight came up like 0.7. So I think I came up from 84 to 84.7, then up to 85.4. That was this morning. But I looked leaner today. I felt better yesterday. My body's just a bit fucked at the minute. Like, I'm not really badly beaten up, but I think like driving a bit more than usual, like drove up to Manchester, driving back, my car's not comfortable for long drives. Like anything longer than like half an hour, I have to get out. Like my hip just seizes up. So my hip was really tight going into pull. That pull was still a good session, but I feel like I've had a knock-on effect of it today, and my body feels a bit fucked. I've got like a few niggles that I'm just working around, but other than that, all is good.
Wonderful.
What about you?
Similar again. Body weight is sitting 78-ish kg. I don't know if that's actually up from last week or what, but I'm holding pretty well. Feeling really good. Training's going very good. Feel like I can run through a fucking brick wall just all the time right now. Um, and yeah, like visuals, I'm really happy with. I put some shots up on my story just there.
Yeah,
I was very happy with like post workout ones. I feel it's good. I feel big in the top. Like I've never really had that before. Like just standing there post workout in like a oversized gas top, it's like oh, I actually look like a lift. Usually it's just only when I actually get my kit off and I pose, I'm like, oh, I like how I look. But like just standing there, I'm like, oh, this is sick. Like I'm starting to get that fullness back to me, and again, I'm getting a lot stronger and everything. So I'm just continuing the momentum, I think. No other updates, to be honest, outside of that. Just continuing to do what I do. Move forwards. Is all pretty much. Nice short update. But yeah,
you look good in that story, mate.
thank you. I feel like my boobies are growing a little bit. They don't look as flat and as shit as they usually do.
Yeah.
Post workout, they're always going to look a little bit better, but well, they don't look as much of a weak point, and vascularity's still there. Like even when I'm training again, like my arms coming out my top, like I'm feeling a lot kind of just bigger, more vascular through my arms. It makes me just feel fucking, I don't know, just powerful and strong, bigger and more confident. So yeah, I'm happy with where I am. I'm excited to get stronger. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we catch up done. Educational shit. Going into some more stuff about prep, training this week mainly. Like we were speaking before about, the lead up to a show, travel for the shows, discussing prices of shows, the last hour before you go on stage, talking about posing. We said we were going to speak a little bit about kind of like peak week training, but we thought it'd be good to talk about training as a whole in prep, and then peak week training as well. See if we can fit it into like 45-minute episode. So training as a whole during prep. Does anyone want to go first? Do we want to just chat about it as a whole? What's your thoughts?
I'll go first, just based on obviously you guys have all prepped under me, so you kind of know where like my head's at with it. Like I think initially when you go into a prep, a lot of people think straight away that like training changes or it should change, or that they are going to get weaker straight away, or they're going into it thinking, oh, I'm a kilo down from last week. And like I think you need to get out of that headspace. Like ultimately, when you're starting a prep, your training for probably the vast majority of the prep shouldn't change. I would also say like a good thought process is before you even start your prep, make sure your training program is set up to withstand a prep. So if you've got like loads of dumbbell presses, if you've got loads of like barbell back squats and things like that, are you realistically going to be doing those when you're in stage condition? I would argue you're probably not. Or are you going to be able to hold on to those when stability is such a huge aspect of it? No. So before you even start prep, get your program set up in the maybe couple months before, maybe after you've done a pre-prep, get it set up so you're like, right, I know that I can keep pretty much all these movements in, because what you don't want to do is fall into like a false sense of security by just changing exercises all the time, thinking you're holding on to strength because you're progressing a new lift. That's not holding on to strength. You'll actually lose muscle if you're not careful by doing that, just constantly chopping and changing movements, because of course it's going to progress because it's a new exercise and you're building those sort of neurological patterns and getting good at it, so it's going to progress, but that doesn't equal building more muscle because it's completely new. So have a program in place that's set up already, and then try and keep all those movements the same or as close to all those movements the same throughout. And the only thing I would say is just manipulate your volume based on your performance. So like the first probably half to 3/4 of prep, you can probably get away with the same volume that you were in your off season. Like your training volume should match your recovery and your energy. And obviously your recovery sort of capabilities and your energy availability will drop as you go through a prep. But it doesn't drop like that. Like it drops gradually, and you will notice that as it goes on. And throughout, again, the first like half or so, you'll probably find that you feel great because you're not having to digest as much food as you were before. Your sleep's maybe even better quality. You may be a bit fitter because you may be doing more steps, and you're lighter, so you recover quicker. All these things. Then as you get pretty fucking lean, yeah, you might have to pull down volume a little bit or reset a lift a little bit. You're still doing the same movements, but just not taking those 3 to 5 reps that you were when you were fat and stronger. But being sensible and getting more out of it. And I would just say numbers aren't everything. You're probably on some big lifts, probably not going to be doing what you were maybe when you were, let's say, 10, 15 kilos heavier. Probably not. So focus on the stimulus that you're creating and the quality of the set, but also look at it in terms of like relative strength as well. So like your absolute strength might be down theoretically, or it might be the same. You might go, oh, I haven't progressed this for months. But if you're losing weight and you're leaner week in, week out, and you're maintaining it, your relative strength, like your body weight in comparison to the numbers, that is progressing. So like Josh said, you had a client today who was like fuming that he'd lost 1 rep. It's like, that you're not going to lose all your muscle. That's not the end of the world. How was the quality of the set? What was the stimulus that you felt like you got out of it? When you finished that set, how did the actual set feel from a productivity standpoint? Like that's what you should be focusing on, not just, oh, I lost a rep, that equals I'm losing muscle.
Yeah, because you can have a horrendous quality set, match the reps, and you've just like wiggled your way through the final one, felt terrible, come off it, I didn't feel great, or I could lose a rep, keeping really good quality, come off of it, my chest is absolutely fried.
Yeah.
Like, again, there is definitely a middle ground, and it's so hard to say, like, do this, because somebody might be so far that end of the spectrum, somebody might be so far that end where they're, like, scared of losing numbers, but then there's also people that are, like, so focused on the quality, and before you know it, they're doing literally, like, half the weight when they're getting lighter, and, like, it just isn't necessarily just taking load resets left, right, and centre because they're getting in their head way too much. I think it's just not playing the victim in a sense. It's so easy to do. So I feel like I was good with that in my prep because I didn't really know anything else. I remember Reese was prepping at the same time, and he obviously has a little bit of assistance to help his performance keep going. But like I was watching his stories, and he was holding his numbers or progressing. So I was like, I can as well. Like I didn't even realise that, like, when I was younger, I used to think, like, oh yeah, as soon as I diet, I'm just going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. But, like, as I seen his stories and as I seen other people training and I knew what else I could do, I was like, yeah, I'll be able to hold my numbers, I'll be able to continue to progress and just go forwards. And for a lot of movements, I did. Like, it wasn't big, massive, like, heavy movements. It was usually just kind of my isolation stuff. But, again, like, you can 100% hold numbers until you get pretty damn lean. Like, Noah, for you and your diet that you've just done there, like, your performance was, like, pretty good throughout, wasn't it? And that was a big stint of fat loss, and you got pretty damn lean. You weren't in stage condition, but that would maybe be, like, 75% of the groundwork of a prep that you've done there. And your strength, if anything, was up on a few things, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had pulled down like 19-ish kg. Like we'd dropped a good amount in performances in the best spot it has been on a lot of things. Obviously, it comes down to like whatever built the tissue is going to retain it. You can't be going into the sessions just fucking. I feel like it's just repeating what you guys are saying, but in a different fucking way. But it's true. You can't just go in defeatist. Like, yes, some things might take a hit at a certain point, but if you go in with that mindset of, oh, I'm a pound down from last week, or this last rotation I was 1.7 kg or pounds heavier. Oh, how's this going to move? Or if you go in feeling that little bit lighter, get a grip. Like, you're going to set yourself up, and you almost give yourself that excuse as soon as you go in. So, oh well, I didn't get it because of this. It's like you're just going to not look anywhere near as good as you could do by the time that you look the way that you do whenever you're leaner. So it really is. It just comes down to how much are you going to push on in that diet phase and make it work.
Yeah, I've seen it countless times from clients. Like, they'll get down 10 kg or something, as you say, and they're stronger than ever, look better than ever. And obviously, a lot of that is people that may be newer to the gym, but even people that are already really fucking strong. Like, people that are pulling 5 plates plus on deadlifts, that are inclining dumbbell press in 50s plus. Like, again, for maybe certain movements like that, they might struggle, but a lot of people can hold that performance, and it's those people that really do actually enjoy the process of training. Even Brandon, for example, yes, he got weaker, but like watching his training clips, like he looked possessed in terms of how much he was really applying into that. Tom Scott, for example, like just really still very, very aggressive throughout, and there would have been pretty much most of the time would have just felt like shit going into the session. It's like you put up with it, you deal with it, and you crack on. Like anything worthwhile is going to come with challenge. It's not going to be easy. You just need to make sure that your headspace is in the right spot. But yeah, it's just being sensible. And I was speaking to somebody in the gym about this again today, and he was like, "Yeah, I lost a rep there, but it was a very, very good set." And I was like, "Cool, that's fine. You know, there's no major issue with that, but just don't make a habit of it." It's like, right, I've dropped a rep there, and now I'm looking to maintain that for maybe 2 or 3 more weeks and like hold on to that as best as I can with good quality, and then I might need to take a slight reset from there again, but it shouldn't be every single week that's happening over and over and over again, because you can get in like momentum can be really good for you or it can be really bad for you. Like if you're adding weight onto movements and you're gaining phase and you just feel like, again, maybe like I am right now, I can just run through a brick wall, it's great. But momentum in a prep, if you lose a rep on one set 1 week, it doesn't mean that the next week the same thing's going to happen. Like it doesn't build up like that momentum. You just need to keep your head screwed on, and make sure that you don't fall into the trap of getting into that negative momentum and thinking, oh, that session was shit last week, so it's probably going to be shit this week. And then it just ends up going in a downward spiral. Oh, I hate my training. I don't like training. I'm in prep, I've got no energy, so I don't enjoy it anymore. You see with so many people who say like, oh, I actually don't enjoy training. And yes, again, like even we've all kind of experienced it most likely, but a lot of the time it is just in your head. Obviously, again, making sure that you're not running like ridiculously flat and putting yourself into the ground like you did, Finn. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is very mental. But then obviously having the ability to kind of feed up where you need to, like certain body parts, if you do have like a weaker body part for myself, legs for Finn, legs and back for Matt, it'll be back. Noah, what would you say is your weakest body part from like a men's physique standpoint? Your back? No, not anymore actually.
Yeah, it's like I feel
My
like
chest.
Flatten off. That's where it flattens off for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Like
flatten
you-
off quite bad for my back.
flatten off more than anything else.
Yeah, it's being aware of that as well, and like knowing when that certain area does feel really flat, and you don't need to be scared of flatness. Like it's going to happen. You kind of need to experience being flat to actually get into condition, but understanding that yeah, I've got no fucking pump through that. My fasted shots look horrendous through that area. Even when I'm getting a pump, it doesn't seem to be kind of getting any better. Like you may look to run high days on those sessions so you can retain that performance better. For myself, remember Finn, when I was in prep, I used to have my high day the day before legs. Because my legs were guff. Like they were very, very small. They still are pretty small. But I had to have my higher day before that to make sure that I had more fuel and my muscles were fuller, glycogen stores were fuller going into that session. So I think that's something to point out as well. You know, like timing your high days well.
One thing to note on that as well is like it depends what time you train. So like I have some clients that train after one meal. Like I'm not going to give them a high day on that day to benefit that day, because it's not really going to benefit it, because your pre-workout meal is going to be a big enough meal anyway. Like it should be. So like for example, let's say somebody's weakest body part is, let's say like their chest, and they train in the morning and they do pull push legs. I'd put the high day on pull and give them a good amount of food post workout on pull and like pre-bed on pull to then carry over into the push day the next morning. So like I think a lot of people think high day equals like I'm going to benefit on that given day. Well, not if you train off one meal or if you train fasted. And I have some clients that train at 6 a.m, 6 a.m. You're not going to then be able 6, 7 a.m. You're not going to benefit from having like a load of food on that given day. Like you want to sort of prioritize it a little bit beforehand. So just be aware of that as well. I think it's easy to just sort of think I should just have a high day on my weaker body part day, but it depends if you train that weaker body part super early, because you'll benefit more probably the next day if you're training off like one meal.
I remember we did that, but my pull session, my back session, was the first session of the week. So we actually had like higher rest day food towards the back end of the day, and then the pre-workout meal was a little bit higher. And it worked to a certain extent, but I think by that point I was just like back training just wasn't in a good place. I don't think I've felt my back in about 8 weeks.
You spoke about your training like dropping off within that prep, and obviously like my training definitely dropped off within my prep. Like for me, I got into a headspace of training just becoming like a bit of a tick in a box, and like
It was just going through the motions, wasn't it?
yeah, then get it done, and then I've got steps and cardio to do, and like that's like the last thing you want to think. Like your training should always be your priority, whether you're gaining or dieting. Your training is your priority. So like that's one thing. Do not fall into that kind of mistake of being like so hyper focused on fat loss that you're focusing more on what you've got for your post workout meal, or doing the rest of your steps or your cardio or going to do posing for half an hour post workout. Focus on your training, put all your effort and energy into your training, and let the rest of the sort of fat loss take care of itself, because you'll get way more out of it. Your physique will be way better for doing that, like putting that effort into your training. You'll be able to have food higher, expenditure lower, if you're putting way more into your training. But yeah, Matt, did you sort of notice a point where it dropped off, or do you think it was just like a gradual thing?
It was just gradual. It was just time spent in the deficit, and I think it was probably towards maybe just before the NBFI show. I think training was still in a really good spot leading into that first like warm up show. But I think when we started, like we've said this multiple times, it wasn't even like we were digging. It was just being in a deficit.
Like,
Yeah, and just trying to get a little bit leaner, but we weren't like doing stupid amounts of cardio, stupid amount of steps. It was just that gradual time spent in a deficit, just kind of catching up. And it was one of those things where I was going into my pool sessions and I wasn't really thinking. I was just kind of like, right, let's just get it done. Just you know when you kind of get to a stage where you're like, right, I just need to get this session done. But that's okay when it comes to my leg training, because my leg training was still at a very good standard. I was still lifting a good amount of weight. I was still able to feel the muscles actually working. But my back training, I couldn't feel anything. So it was literally just like I was doing a pull down and nothing was happening. But it was because it was so gradual, I didn't really pick up on it until it was too late. And then it was like I looked back at my back shots and I was like, where's my back kind of gone? And I don't even think I communicated that with you up until probably after the show or after the season
I
ended.
don't think you ever really said like, oh, mate, my training's like feeling shit, or like
You don't want to admit it though, do you?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
the
It was
hard
one of
part.
those, I didn't even realise at the time it was that bad,
Yeah.
because you're just not thinking, you're just doing, which
I always
has
say
its
to like
benefits and
stay.
drawbacks.
Yeah, you need to stay urgent, just as you would with anything. And again, anything that's difficult is how long can you do it for, and how long can you actually be accurate and still apply yourself into it. Like even with coaching athletes and having multiple people on stage, like do you get slack with it? Do you actually stay on top of it? Like same goes with your training, as you say, it's such a gradual thing. It's not like a big event that happens once a week. You do this, like you're training 4 or 5 times a week, so it's easy to like bit by bit, by 1% you go down every session. In the space of 4 weeks, your training's dropped like 30%. You know, if you're letting those little 1% happen, it's just really keeping yourself to that standard and staying urgent and, still enjoying the process. And it can be difficult, but again, like still just doing what you would usually do and getting excited for your sessions as much as it is really hard. Like even in the gym, trying to listen to some good music and get yourself hyped up for it and remind yourself like these sets, these sessions, they do matter. Like every session, every set, every exercise, every set, every rep, just trying to remind yourself that it counts. It's easy to fall into the trap of it, but it's just urgency, I think, in anything in life is so important. There was I think it was like a Joe Rogan podcast, and it was like a lot of sports at a really high level are just how long can you stay in that mental pool, of like actually challenging yourself, even if it's long distance running and stuff like that. It's not about just going bang, bang, bang at the start. It's about pacing yourself and making sure that you can maintain that throughout, So it's being able to kind of like keep yourself in that headspace, make sure that you're not like overly aggressive and shit at the start, because you end up just burning out when you don't have that same sort of food behind you and everything. You're not the same. So it's trying to find something that's sustainable and find what gels and works with you well, and then just run with that from there, I think.
I think
think-
remembering
Go on.
we're also bodybuilders, we train muscles, not movements. So if you're going into a back session, don't just view it as like a lat pull down, view it as something that is actually training your lat and the actual muscle. Because you can get so caught up in, like you said, just doing the motions and the movements rather than actually doing the training the muscle. And I remember like something I did do that really well with like a hack squat, for example, where I think I did maybe like 4 plates on the Cybex in my off season, and by the end of prep I was doing like 2.5 or something. But the quality of the sets was still to a very high level. The stimulus that I got from the 2.5 plates was still on the same level as the 4. So just remembering that you are still trying to train your muscles and take them to failure. Don't just get caught up in doing the motion of the movement.
Understanding that they all have a meaning behind them, like they're actually supposed to do something, and it's not just moving away from A to B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, like, and this doesn't just relate to training. This relates to like everything. I think a good mindset to have and something to remind yourself of is, would I do this in an off season or a gaining phase? You know what I mean? Like, so if you're just like rushing through an exercise to get the session done to eat your post workout, would you do that in an off season? Or add in like loads of random sugar free sauces and things like that? Would you do that in your off season? Like, I think if you constantly remind yourself that if you're thinking about doing something, just sort of think, just question it. Would I do this if I was in a gaining phase? Would I have done this 6 months ago? And if the answer is no, don't do it. Like literally, and you have to force yourself. Like it's not easy, but like even the smallest of things, like I get it, people eating with baby spoons and stuff like that. Like I understand the purpose behind it, and I don't think there's anything massively, massively wrong with that. But it is a slippery slope if you're not careful to where like your entirety of your day revolves around getting time to sit down and eat a meal and watch a video and relax for an hour and shit, you know what I mean? It's like take as long as you can to eat it and stuff like that. And it's like one thing that like I would just always try and think in your head is, would I do this if I wasn't dieting?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, try your best not to do it within training and outside of training.
I also think this is unrelated to that, and it is a good point. But sending your coach training clips just as you would within a gaining phase as well. Like you end up speaking to your coach so much that you speak to them most mornings. You sending over photos and shit like that. So you're like, oh, I already messaged him so much, so I'm not bothered with the training clips. I won't bother him. And it's like a month or two has went by. Your training is just again by 1% each session. Something very small goes down. Your coach doesn't know about it. You're not communicating about it, and you somewhat don't want to admit to yourself that maybe you're slightly slack on certain things, even if it's as simple like just don't let yourself slip on shit like calf raises, ab crunches, lateral raises. It's so easy to just be like, right, these are my big movements for the session, I need to smash them. But then the rest of the stuff, like you're just blasting through it, or you're not getting as much as you could from it. Send your coach training clips, whether that's literally just two from each session, and report back on how they were. Like send a wee voice note over as to this is a recap of this session, and this session. Be honest, be truthful, and be open about how they are. I think you can be too open in a sense sometimes again where you literally just like, hey, I feel so tired during this session and this and that. Like you sometimes just need to block out the negative shit again, like you do in any walk of life. When you're hungry, you don't just think, oh, I'm so hungry, and just be like, right, I'm cracking on, I'm doing my shit. But it does get to a point where you can go over that and you're just not communicating at all. So really still do communicate with your coach, send over training clips. And just as you would within a gaining phase when you're trying to improve your training, when you're trying to get more out of it, having your coach report back and be like, fucking brilliant set, mate, go for more on that. It drives you to do more. Like that level of accountability is there as well. But in the prep, you put up some really good sets, you get some encouragement from your coach. You're like, let's fucking go, that's good to see, I'm happy for you. It's moving very well, let's do this next week and this is what I want to see. Or even if you're starting to do like 5 reppers and you don't look great and you're already lean because you're trying to hold on to your numbers, your coach will be like, mate, reset that, go from there. So still actually communicating, because we've definitely all been guilty of that. We probably will be in the future. It's not something that just goes like that, but trying to be as open and honest as you can.
Trying to be as objective with it as you can as well. Because like you're saying there, like so easy to like have that emotional attachment to it. And like, for example, if you were to send me a voice note like, oh, really, fucking this was shit, and oh, that was so, oh, it's like you're not really providing the information that you need to. It could be, this didn't go well because of this. You know what I mean? Like that's my thought process is, this didn't feel good. I just struggled to brace. I didn't feel as stable, probably because I'm a bit lighter than last time. Instead of, oh, I lost a rep and then I fucking lost my head, and like, it's just an immature kind of mentality, and we've all been there. I remember my first prep, I'd fucking voice noting AJ like half crying because I'd lose a rep, like. But that's because you're young and you're learning. Like it's all part of it. But I would also say as well, one thing from a coach's perspective is if your client is somebody who does send a lot of training clips and then they stop, that's your sign that they're fucked. Because if you haven't got the energy to fucking put your camera on, then you're probably shouldn't be struggling to be actually like mobilizing body fat at that point. You become a zombie, and your NEAT is so low, and your performance is down, and your energy expenditure drops just based on being like a zombie. Your body's trying to preserve. If your body's trying to preserve that much energy that you won't even put your fucking phone on a tripod and film, then there's something not great there. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You don't have to love your training. Towards the end of a prep, you're probably not gonna. But if you haven't got that energy to even just prop your phone up, probably not a good sign. Like if you haven't got the energy to do that, have you got the energy to be training at your best, or have you got the energy to be posing at your best?
Giving everything to every set that there is. Yeah.
I remember using a different attachment because I could not be bothered bending down and picking up a different one because I was that fucked.
Yeah. Mate, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets to a point, doesn't it? But yeah, being all open and honest with your coach is important. One thing to touch upon, because some people might not do it, is kind of common for us, and like we don't really think anything else, but do prioritize your food around the training window, and especially pre-workout. Like I don't know about you guys, but if somebody's on like 200 carbs, I'd still be having at least 100 carb pre-workout, maybe 50 carb post-workout. They'll have a base carb meal or two, and then 30 to 50 carb meal is the final meal to make sure that their sleep's still good, that they're not fucking dying of hunger, and then they're waking up throughout the night and everything. Like more than half of the food for the day is pre-workout, because
Yeah.
if
I think you can get away with not having carbs first meal, and you can definitely just shift everything a little bit further closer towards your training.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's different if you're going to be training off of one meal or whatnot, so you're going to want to have that food earlier on in the day, but still prioritizing enough pre-bed so that your sleep's good enough quality to actually recover. Because realistically, if your recovery capabilities start to wean the further into prep you get, you're going to need to recover. So having some food pre-bed is always going to help with that. But again, if you don't need it first thing in the morning, just move more a little bit later on in the day, especially around that training window. Yeah, for sure.
I think pre-workout carbs are a lot more important than post-workout carbs.
Yeah.
Like again, if you've got very little carbs pre-workout, energy in the gym is going to be meh, stability is going to feel down, and then mainly from a mental standpoint, you're barely going to get a pump. You look at yourself post-workout, fuck me, I look like shit. Oh mate, what do I do? What do I do? And you end up losing your head, and you're like, oh, I feel negative. Get a good amount of food pre-workout. Make sure that you've got your salt tracked. Be on top of that. Your hydration. Get a pump product down you. Like you usually have a pretty good session. You'll get that pump there. Again, it depends what point you're in prep, but it does make a big difference prioritizing those carbohydrates pre-workout. Post-workout, I don't think you need as much as people say. Like as long as you're getting a little bit in to kind of get things going again. But
I honestly don't even if you're somebody who is needing to be pushed a little bit more from a calorie perspective, you don't need carbs post workout. Like in an off season, yeah, makes sense. You're in a good position to uptake food post workout, but in a prep setting, pre workout and pre bed, I'd rather have somebody have way more food pre bed, because if you're hungry going to bed, or if you're hungry training, that's the main thing. The main issue is if somebody's thinking about food going to bed or whilst they're training, their sleep or their training is naff. Like either from hunger or from just being like depleted, and obviously in the gym, like you might not even be hungry as such, but you're just pretty depleted. But yeah, like if you can, like Josh said, for example, if you're on 200 carb on a training day, which isn't a lot of food, like it's not a lot of food at all, really. I would probably look at having 100, maybe even more pre.
125.
Like 125, I'd have like trace in pretty much every other meal, and then pre-bed have 50 plus. Like
What about intra workout as well? Because I found like a huge benefit. It
Yeah.
might have been even just mental having
keep it the
something.
same. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can, unless you're having like 50 grams plus in an off season. But like I would always try and keep at least 15 grams intra plus. 15
Yeah.
grams of direct carbs, so like maybe 18 to 20 grams of carb powder. I think the benefit of that versus the cost of not having it is huge.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mental pick-me-up.
Yeah, it's just even just for the psychological aspect of it, and the taste. If it tastes nice, like the smallest of things, it gives you that bit of a boost. So yeah, I definitely think
The unflavoured one, because that just tastes of cum.
the unflavored one. How do you know what that tastes of?
It's just the consistency is what I'd imagine, It depends how much water you put it in. Like I do for my intra, I don't have like a big bottle with like my intra in it. I'll have my usual water, and then I'll have like it's not like a shot, but it'll be like 200 mils, 200, 300 mils of my carb powder in my EAA, so that I can actually spike MPS with the EAA. It's not just like slowly and consistently throughout the session. I'll have that halfway through, kind of like halfway between my pre-workout and my post-workout meal, and it means that like I do get like a hit of the carbs, and it's like boom, that hits me there, and then I'm going to feel the effects of that. And especially like I feel like if you're having an intra workout and if your carb powder and your water and you're sipping on it throughout, like your digestive system's not really having as much of a break between meals. And I know it's very very little, but mentally I think to myself, I'm just going to get like that down me. That acts as a wee just like boom, there's an extra 30 carbs in just in the one wee like 5 to 10 minute gap, and I get my EAs and a little bit more hydration halfway through the session when I start to feel myself maybe get a little bit more sluggish, and then that's me good from there. So I think that works better for me, and I've noticed that actually working better for me instead of just like slowly drinking it throughout the session. Because sometimes, like, it depends what you're training and how much water you drink. You're gonna drink more water in some sessions, you end up just guzzling it down you. But then sometimes you're coming to the end of the session, you're like, I've not even finished my intra workout when you've got it in your 1.5 litre bottle, and then you're trying to get it down you, and then you're trying to have your post workout meal after, then it doesn't sit right because you've drank so much water directly before it. I prefer just to have it as like a wee shot type of thing. But yeah, I think intra workout can definitely be really beneficial.
Yeah, I agree with that in terms of like having your EAAs at like a halfway point between pre and post, and then also like you say having your carb powder. I pretty much do that after my first, like, usually your first maybe 1 to 3 exercises might be isolations before a big compound. So once I've done those first like 1 to 3, that's when I'll go and get mine sorted, and then I'll have it over the first 1 or 2 big movements, and then it's finished by the latter end of the session. And then once my heart rate's come down and I'm eating my post workout, it's been a while since I've had my intra anyway. But yeah, I think so. Like going back to what we spoke about at the start, I honestly think like don't change anything. Get your training set up before you start prep. Don't change anything for, let's say, the first maybe 50 to even like 75% of the prep. If you have to change anything, all that realistically should be is pulling volume down on movements that are creating like huge amounts of demand. So for example, let's say you're doing on a leg day 3 sets of abs, 3 sets of calves, 3 sets of ham curl, 2 sets leg extension, 2 sets hack, 2 sets leg press, 2 sets glute drive. Like, you might get to a point where all those isolations come down to 2 towards the end of a prep, and the compounds maybe come down to 1, or 1 and a rest pause, or some of them are 2 but others come down to 1. And like the goal is to try and still hold on to as much strength and quality of performance as you can. And again, your volume is going to match your recovery capabilities, and they will be lower with less food and less body fat. But it shouldn't be chop and change every exercise every week for either enjoyment or something new, or to try and like feel like you're progressing, because realistically you're not if you're just chopping and changing. I think we should do another episode where we do discuss in between shows, how to manage that, because it's very very easy. Again, similar with myself, similar with Matt, to look detrained between shows when you're trying to hold a condition if you're not careful. If you're constantly thinking, well, I've got back shows and then I've got a week gap and then I've got another show, I can't train too hard because I'll create too much inflammation and fatigue and I won't look good when I step on stage. Like, before you know it, your training's been shit for a month trying to hold stage condition. You just look detrained. So that's something to be really careful with. It's so easily done as well.
And then there's Big Gulliver doing like a 5-plate split squat between 2 shows, and then he came into the next one and looked like he hadn't trained, just because he was so fucked. Like there's each end of it as well. So finding the middle ground there, talking about peak week training between shows and even coming out of prep, I think that's a good one to cover as well. Like recovery as you come out of prep, what do you need to do? Do you need to have a recovery phase where you work in RIR? What do you need to do with your volume and stuff like that? So we can cover that in the next one. But yeah, I think that's a good solid episode. I don't actually know how to stop. Oh, I do know how to stop the recording and see the button. Sorry, y'all. I'm still getting used to this Riverside stuff. But no, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episodes. Please do like, subscribe on YouTube, 5 stars, follow, all that jazz on Spotify.
Sorry, Josh. We're going to start putting some reels out. So make sure you like and share the reels, guys.
Yes, thank you. If we can figure out how to work it. Yeah. If I can. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for watching. See you guys in the next episodes. Catch ya.